Decide which one. Yeah, decide which one. If you want them, then they will.
No, I think you should.
That's fine.
Here.
Okay.
Call the Committee on MDC Government to order. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is John Bazzano. I'm the chair of the committee. And at this point, I'd like to ask if there's anyone in the public to make some comments relative to the agenda items. Yes,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Good afternoon. You've seen me before. My name is still Elizabeth Bryden. I'm an MDC customer and homeowner in West Hartford. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to comment on agenda item number 7 regarding retroactive reimbursement for customer sewer repairs. I'm here today to again recommend the approval of the revised sewer ordinance that would allow for the retroactive reimbursement for homeowners for partial repairs and replacements to sewer laterals. The revised sewer ordinance was discussed at the meeting on September 30th, but the issue, as you know, was tabled during the meeting. As this issue has been passed from committee to committee for a long time, I certainly hope that today a decision can be made to approve the revised ordinance and provide a mechanism for MDC customers to be reimbursed for these costly lateral repairs and/or replacement. As I have in the past, I'd note that there's already a precedent for retroactive reimbursement in the Hartford Sewerage System Repair Fund, which allows homeowners who have been impacted by damage on or after January 1st, 2021 to apply for reimbursement. In addition, as you know, I'm advocating for the Sewer House Connection Program to allow for partial replacement of sewer laterals and not just full replacements if a partial replacement solves the problem, as it did in my case. As many of you know, I've been attending numerous MDC meetings for over a year and a half now. When I did have a sewage backup at my home in January 2023, I followed the MDC process, including using an MDC recommended contractor and following permitting and inspection requirements, and resolved the issue with a partial lateral replacement. However, I had to pay over $12,000 to replace a sewer pipe in the woods on someone else's property to which I had no access. In my case, as you know, the sewer lateral comes out of the back of my house, down a hill, off my property, behind my neighbor's house, into the woods, and that is where a portion needed to be replaced. So this revised ordinance would help homeowners who experience a situation like mine, and I think it is fair and reasonable. Again, I appreciate the opportunity to share my thoughts today and hope you take them into consideration by passing the revised ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Item number 3 is the approval of the meeting minutes of September 30th, 2024. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Any abstentions? Minutes are approved. I'd like to take items number 4, 5, and 6 together, so if there is no objection to taking those items together, I would entertain a motion to do such.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on items 4, 5, and 6? Hearing none, I will take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Items 4, 5, and 6 are approved. Item 7 is discussion and potential action regarding the ordinance for retroactive reimbursement of customer sewer repairs.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Curry.
Thank you, Commissioner Curry. At least for discussion purposes, but I move that we do not approve making a referral to the district board for their approval for any retroactive reimbursement of customer sewer repairs. And if there's a second, I will explain why.
Second.
Okay, I'll open it up for discussion.
Okay. At one of the last meetings, budget meetings, there was a discussion about the $5.5 million surplus that was put into the ad valorem line item. And, you know, while it's something that I normally would not approve, I was comfortable approving that, but nonetheless, it's still a one-time allotment of a large amount of money. And at this time, I just don't think we we as a board should be considering what I find, and I was surprised to find that the numbers for the retroactive reimbursement, even if we're looking at a few months, was very, very sizable. So, I think we have a budget out there that we can be proud of in the fact that we're proposing a 0% increase in ad valorem and a $11 a year increase for the first time in 3 or 4 years in water. But we're still walking a fine line, and at this time, I don't think we should be recommending an allocation of such a sizable sum of money for this. And I'm not even sure if, even though there's been some precedent set, that it's really the right thing to do, simply. So, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Torres.
Also concerned about making a change of this nature. I think it has an adverse impact on our financial budgeting process and the amount of work that went into coming up with a fair formula for this retroactive benefit, if you will. But also I'm concerned about the potential cost to the city of Harvard per se of approximately 25% of the ad valorem, which would fall upon the shoulders of Hartford residents. And therefore, I can't support this one-time retroactive change.
Thank you. Any further discussion on this item? Yes, Commissioner.
So I, as a West Hartford commissioner, I obviously feel for the individual who's here, and there's a part of me that would like to see that happen. I have to say, both on behalf of West Hartford and the MDC, I share the concern about the budgetary implications, and that the cost of this would be borne, by our town as well as the other towns that we represent here too. And I have an additional concern too, that by making retroactive some of these things, not only would we have a budgetary issue, but I think there would be a going forward problem with the reimbursement ability for somebody who has a failure that happens in the future. In other words, if somebody takes a retroactive reimbursement, it might pay for sort of an old one, but it would prevent the ability to have something happen going forward, which I think, just speaking for myself, that's what I had in mind in terms of how this program would work going forward. So I understand the concern here. I appreciate it being brought to our attention. And so it's, I guess with a heavy heart, I guess, I say that I agree with and understand the budgetary concerns. And I again have sort of a going forward concern for all, for all individuals who might have a failure going forward. I would hesitate to entertain a change that could jeopardize that for everybody going forward.
Yeah, this was a difficult one because, I guess that's the reason why it kept bouncing around from committee to committee and took this long to approve. But I think we owe it to our folks that are out there that we have to make a decision one way or the other. And I agree with everything that's said tonight. The financial impact is just too large at this point. So I also will be not supporting the retroactive ordinance. Is there any other discussion on this? Well, hearing no other discussion, all in favor of not supporting the retroactive? That's the vote, correct?
Yes.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Thank you for that. Item number 8 is an opportunity for general public comments. Anyone here like to speak on anything MDC related? Okay. Hearing none. Item number 9 is the commissioner request for future agenda items. Hearing none. With no further business.
Mr. Chairman,
Yep, yes. Commissioner
I'm
Patel.
not the member of this committee, But I think we need to define a role, because this is governing and government. Define role of commissioners,
Yeah.
chairs, etc., and relationship with administration. How and when they can interfere or intervene.
Not following.
If I might, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, yes.
If I might, and I don't want to.
Counsel, yes.
Thank you, Chris Stone. And I don't want to get it wrong in terms of what you're asking for, but I received an email from the chairman, or a copy of an email from the chairman today about the training for commissioners come January 2025, starting with the first meeting, which I think is January 13th, 2025. That training would include not only training on things like whistleblower things, harassment, other things, things that employees at the MDC, training that the employees at the MDC go through, in affording that or making that available to the commissioners, but also in terms of governance, is what's the role of the commissioners? Let's start there. What's the role of chairman and vice chairman and alike? And to answer your question, I think that's going to happen sooner than you think, and so it doesn't have to be on the agenda for this particular committee, but it's going to be on the agenda for the full board, and it's going to commence come January 13th for the full board. I prepared a memo not too long ago, which has been distributed to you, setting forth the roles of the gentleman, roles and authority of the gentleman sitting to my left, the chairman of the MDC, and we can certainly be prepared for the 13th to do the same for members as well as chairs of committees. That would be fine. It's really defined by our charter and our ordinances and what their roles and duties, obligations and responsibilities and authority is. And that's exactly what this memo laid out months ago, if not over a year ago. And we can do the same for committee members or commissioners and for chairs and vice chairs of separate committees. We can do that in advance of the 13th of January and have that distributed. So it's a good suggestion. I think we all need a refresher course. I do, for example, in terms of my roles and responsibilities. It's always good I often refer back to the charter and the ordinances to see what my authority, to make sure what my authority is or isn't in terms of what I do. I don't think it would hurt to do the same for a committee member. So your points, for me at least, your point's well taken. I just don't think it has to be on an agenda for this committee. We're going to be taking care of that
Which committee
shorter.
will handle it? Who will handle it?
The board's going to do it.
Pardon?
The board has done it. They passed a bylaw that called for commissioner training. So within that training, the issues that the topics that you've described will be addressed as part of that training. So you've already dealt with and created an ordinance under the leadership of your present chairman to do exactly what you want to accomplish. Identify and communicate the roles and responsibility of committee members, commissioners, chairs, and vice chairs.
Are we going to do it combined for everybody or separate for each category?
I think everybody should know what their own responsibility is as a commissioner. Everyone should know what the responsibilities and obligations of the chair and vice chair are. Everyone should know what the responsibilities of the chairman of the district as a whole and vice chair is, so that everyone knows what lanes they have. And not to call each other out on, but just to remind everybody what their lanes are, that's all. It's supposed to be a helpful tool, not a tool that's going to generate conflict or disruption or disputes. So it's supposed to be a positive exercise.
Does that answer your question, Commissioner Patel?
So let's see what happens. Thank you.
Okay.
It's more than training, in my opinion.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I'd just like to add to that, and I agree with Chris, your question is a good one. And in the proposed budget, there's funds for training such as workplace violence, whistleblower, ethics, FOI, and there's also dollars in the budget for what I hope we'll be able to get and implement this year is a retreat for commissioners. And as part of that retreat would be all of us in a room, separate groups, talking, communicating, but defining what our roles and responsibilities are and understanding that, you know, we need to stay between the rails, and it'll also discuss the roles and responsibility of administrative staff, including up to the CEO, with the same goal that we understand where their rails are and that they stay within their rails. So I think that will be one of the components of the retreat, which I think will probably address your question.
Thank you.
All right, with no other business before us, I entertain a motion for adjournment.
Moved.
All in favor?